The notification sound cuts through the silence of studio be like a blade through silk. I'm hunched over the mixing board, tweaking the final layers of a film score when my phone buzzes against the mahogany surface. The blue light illuminates my wedding ring, 10 years of platinum promises that suddenly feel weightless. The message preview shows enough to stop my heart. Can't wait to hear you moan my name again while Marcus is buried in his studio pretending he matters. My name is Marcus Holloway, and I've spent 15 years crafting perfect sound. Every frequency balanced, every note placed with surgical precision. But sitting in this $3 million recording studio at 11:47 p.m., staring at my wife's phone screen, I realize some sounds can't be mixed out. They can only be amplified. The sender is Damien Cross, the indie film director whose soundtrack I've been producing for the past 4 months. The same Damien who brought Lydia coffee every Tuesday, who complimented her photography, who shook my hand last week and called me a master of the craft. More messages flood in. Screenshots of intimate conversations. Photos I recognize as my bedroom, my sheets, my life being violated in high-definition detail. Damien's voice notes play automatically. Your husband's got no idea he's creating the perfect soundtrack to our affair. Every time he's mixing late, I'm mixing with his wife. Lydia's response makes my stomach drop. Marcus lives in his own world anyway. Sometimes I think he loves those speakers more than me. At least you know how to make a woman feel heard. I set the phone down with trembling hands and stare at the sound waves dancing across my monitors. 23 tracks of orchestral perfection, each one measured in milliseconds, each one exactly where it needs to be. But my marriage has been playing in a completely different key, and I've been too focused on the mix to hear the discord. The studio door feels heavier than usual as I step into the hallway. The building is empty except for the security guard downstairs and whatever's left of my world upstairs. I take the elevator to the 7th floor, to the executive offices where the real decisions get made. My keycard still works, a perk of being the lead sound engineer for Meridian Studios. I slip into the server room, where thousands of hours of audio files live on humming drives. Every conversation, every meeting, every private session recorded in our studios gets archived here. Standard industry practice, legal protection, and tonight, it's going to be my weapon. I pull up the directory for Studio C, Damien's preferred recording space. For the past 4 months, he's been booking extended sessions, ostensibly for creative discussions about the film's emotional beats. I scroll through the timestamps, cross-referencing them with my own late-night mixing sessions. There, Tuesday, October 15th, 7:30 p.m. to 10:15 p.m. I was in Studio B working on the climactic sequence. Damien had booked Studio C for director's notes and sound consultation. The metadata shows 2 voices on the recording. I plug in my headphones and hit play. What I hear isn't creative consultation. It's my wife's voice, breathless and desperate, echoing off the acoustic panels I helped install. It's Damien's laugh, confident, predatory. It's the sound of betrayal recorded in pristine 192 kilohertz clarity. He'll never hear this coming. Damien's voice crackles through my headphones. Guy's so obsessed with perfect sound, he's missing all the important noise in his own life. You're terrible, Lydia giggles. But you're right. Marcus could have a marching band in the living room, and he wouldn't notice if he was wearing his studio headphones. I catalog 17 different sessions. 17 times my equipment captured their betrayal while I worked 3 floors below, crafting audio perfection for the man destroying my marriage. The irony would be poetic if it weren't so devastating. But this is just reconnaissance. A sound engineer doesn't just capture audio, he manipulates it, shapes it, makes it tell the story he wants told. And the story I want to tell is about consequences. I spend the next 3 days acting normal. Coffee with Lydia in the morning, discussing her latest photography exhibit. Dinner conversations about my work, her gallery showings, our weekend plans. But every night, I'm back in the server room, building something symphonic and terrible. Using the studio's professional editing software, I begin crafting my masterpiece. I isolate every incriminating conversation, every laugh at my expense, every detail of their 4-month affair. I enhance the audio quality, remove background noise, balance the frequencies until every word rings with crystal clarity. Then I compose it. Like a film score, I arrange their betrayal chronologically, from their first, accidental, encounter to their most recent rendezvous. I add timestamps, location data, even ambient sound to establish context. This isn't just evidence, it's a documentary scored for maximum emotional impact. The final audio file runs 4 hours and 37 minutes. I title it The Lydia Sessions, a 4-month composition in Betrayal Minor. But playing their words back to them isn't enough. A true sound engineer understands that audio is just one layer of a larger production. I need visual elements, supporting performances, a full multimedia experience. I start with Damien's professional network. Film industry contacts, investors, distributors, everyone who matters in his world. Using the studio's industry database, I compile contact information for every producer, studio executive, and film festival programmer in his professional orbit. Next, I create anonymous email accounts using voice-over internet protocols and encrypted servers. The kind of digital anonymity that sound engineers use to share unreleased tracks without attribution. Untraceable, professional, devastating. On a Friday evening, while Lydia is at her gallery's opening night and Damien is schmoozing potential investors, I launch my symphony of destruction. The email is simple and professional. Confidential industry alert. Attached audio contains concerning behavior by director Damien Cross during recent studio sessions. Material may be relevant to ongoing projects and professional associations. Please review at your discretion. I attach a highlight reel, the most damaging 30 minutes of their affair, professionally mixed and mastered. Every word clear as glass, every betrayal amplified to concert hall levels. I send it to 47 industry professionals, studio heads, film festival directors, entertainment journalists, even Damien's own production company partners. Then I sit back and wait for the feedback. The first response comes Saturday morning. A studio executive I've worked with for years calls my office line. "Marcus, you need to see the trades. That director you've been working with, Damien Cross, he's done. Someone leaked audio of him talking about sleeping with crew members' wives, manipulating married women, bragging about it like it's a conquest. The footage is everywhere. By Sunday, Damien's film project is cancelled. His production company drops him. 3 different entertainment blogs run features about professional misconduct in indie film. The story spreads through industry channels like wildfire in a sound booth. But I'm not finished. Professional destruction is just the opening movement. Using more of the archived studio recordings, I discovered Damien's been running a side operation, using Meridian's equipment and facilities to record private auditions with aspiring actresses. Pay-to-play schemes, promises of roles in exchange for personal favors, all captured in beautiful digital clarity. This evidence goes to different recipients, casting directors, talent agencies, the State Film Commission. Within days, Damien isn't just blacklisted from studios, he's facing potential criminal charges. The final movement of my composition targets his personal life. Through social media analysis and the contact information he'd left at our studio, I identify 3 other married women Damien has been consulting with over the past year. Each one thinking she's special, each one being manipulated the same way he manipulated Lydia. I craft personalized audio packages for each woman, featuring Damien's own voice bragging about his rotation system, his strategies for seducing married women, his detailed mockery of their husbands. I deliver these packages anonymously with only a simple note. You deserve to hear the truth in his own words. The response is immediate and volcanic. Sarah Martinez, a documentary filmmaker's wife, confronts Damien publicly at an industry mixer, playing his own words through a portable speaker. The scene, captured on phones and posted to social media, shows him scrambling for excuses while his own voice describes his foolproof system for married women. Jennifer Walsh, married to a post-production supervisor, prints transcripts of Damien's conversations and plasters them across his apartment building's lobby. His neighbors learn exactly who's been living among them. And Monica Chen, whose husband is a studio musician, uses her connections to ensure that every recording studio in the city knows about Damien's creative process. He becomes radioactive in professional circles. But the crescendo is reserved for Lydia. I don't confront her directly. Instead, I compose a very special audio experience. Using 10 years of home recordings, birthday messages, anniversary videos, vacation clips. I create a 20-minute montage of our marriage. Our wedding vows, her promises of faithfulness, moments when she called me her rock and her forever love. I layer these memories over the audio of her betrayal, creating a haunting duet between the woman I married and the stranger who destroyed our life. The technical precision is flawless. Her past promises play in the left channel while her current betrayal echoes in the right. The emotional whiplash is intentional, devastating, surgical. I title it Before and After, A Marriage in Stereo, and save it to our shared cloud account, where she stores her photography work. That evening, while I'm having dinner with my lawyer finalizing divorce papers, my phone explodes with calls and texts from Lydia. "Marcus, we need to talk. Please. I know you found out. I can explain everything. The audio files. How long have you known? Please call me back. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. It wasn't supposed to happen like this." I don't respond. A good sound engineer knows that silence can be more powerful than any noise. Instead, I forward her messages to my lawyer as evidence of admission, then block her number entirely. The divorce proceedings are swift and brutal, armed with hours of recorded evidence, financial records showing Damien's payments to Lydia for photography services that never resulted in actual work, and witness statements from industry professionals. My attorney builds an airtight case. Lydia's lawyer tries to claim emotional distress, attempted to argue that recording studio sessions without consent violated her privacy. But every recording was made in a professional facility with posted notices about documentation, using equipment and policies I had legal access to as lead engineer. The judge is particularly unimpressed when we play selected audio of Lydia mocking the idea of marriage counseling and planning to take Marcus for everything he's worth in the divorce. "Mrs. Holloway," the judge says during the final hearing, "your own words, recorded in your own voice, suggest a level of premeditation and manipulation that undermines your claims of emotional victimization. Lydia receives nothing beyond what's legally mandated. No alimony, no claim to my studio business, no access to our shared properties. She's even required to pay her own legal fees. The house, the cars, my equipment, my reputation, I keep it all. But more than that, I keep my self-respect." 6 months after the divorce is finalized, I'm installing a new mixing board in Studio A when my assistant, Kelly, mentions seeing Damien at a coffee shop downtown. "He looked rough," she says. "I heard he's working at some electronics store in the suburbs now, selling car stereos or something." I nod but don't respond. I've heard through industry channels that he's completely blacklisted from film work. No one will hire him, no one will work with him, no one will even return his calls. The audio evidence made him professionally radioactive. Lydia, meanwhile, has moved back in with her mother. Her photography career never recovered from the association with Damien's scandal. Art galleries are small, gossipy communities, and word traveled fast about her role in the industry drama. I should feel satisfied, vindicated, complete. Instead, I feel empty. The studio feels different now. Every piece of equipment, every acoustic panel, every carefully calibrated speaker reminds me of what I lost and what I became. I'm technically better at my job than ever. My ear is more precise, my techniques more refined, my reputation stronger. But the music sounds hollow. It's Tuesday night, nearly a year later, when everything changes. I'm mixing a documentary soundtrack about second chances when a new contractor arrives to upgrade our building's HVAC system. She introduces herself as Rebecca Torres, HVAC engineer, recently relocated from Portland, looking to build a client base in the city. What strikes me isn't her technical competence, though she clearly knows her craft. It's how she listens. While explaining the acoustic considerations for our studio spaces, she doesn't just hear my words. She hears the spaces between them, the frequency of uncertainty in my voice when I mention recent changes to our facility needs. "Sounds like you've been through some renovations," she says, adjusting a ductwork measurement. "Professional or personal?" The question is innocent, but something in her tone suggests she understands both kinds of reconstruction. "Both, I admit. Sometimes you have to tear everything down to build something better." She nods. "I specialize in that kind of work. Fixing systems that look fine on the surface but are rotting from the inside. We start with a professional relationship, Rebecca needs someone who understands acoustics to help design ventilation systems that won't interfere with recording. I need someone who can improve our air quality without compromising our sound quality. But over the course of the project, our conversations migrate from technical specifications to personal histories. She's recently divorced too. Her ex-husband was an architect who'd been systematically stealing her engineering designs and presenting them as his own work. I could have destroyed him, she tells me one evening while we review blueprints in Studio B. I had evidence, contacts, the whole playbook for professional annihilation. Why didn't you? I ask. Because I realized that spending my energy on his destruction meant I wasn't spending it on my own construction. She's right, and her words echo in the perfectly acoustic space around us. Different approach than I took, I say. Different circumstances, she replies. You did what you needed to do at the time. But what do you need to do now? It's a good question. The best question, actually. I spent months learning how to amplify betrayal, how to mix evidence and broadcast truth, and leave my enemies with nothing but the feedback from their own choices. It was necessary work, important work, but it was never going to be enough. The real work, the work that matters, is what comes after. The slow, patient construction of something honest and strong and worth protecting. The daily choice to build instead of break, to harmonize instead of compete, to trust instead of monitor. Rebecca and I have been collaborating for 8 months now. Not just professionally, personally. Building something together that doesn't need surveillance or verification or hidden recording equipment. She appreciates my attention to detail, my commitment to acoustic perfection, my ability to solve complex technical problems. I appreciate her straightforwardness, her engineering precision, her refusal to let past betrayals distort her present choices. Last week, we had dinner at her place, a converted warehouse she's been renovating with the same methodical care I bring to audio production. Over wine and the sound of city traffic filtering through properly insulated windows, she asked me about the divorce, about Damien, about the audio files that ended careers and marriages. Do you regret it? She asked. The way you handled everything? I thought about Lydia's voice on those recordings, about Damien's destroyed reputation, about the months of planning and execution that had consumed my life. I regret that it was necessary, I said finally, but I don't regret doing it. They needed to understand consequences. I needed to prove I wasn't the weak, oblivious fool they thought I was. Rebecca nodded. And now I want to build something that doesn't need protection from betrayal. Something strong enough to handle truth. She smiled, the first time I'd seen her truly, completely smile. That's the kind of project I specialize in. This morning, Rebecca and I walked through a converted recording studio space we're considering for her new business headquarters. She wants to expand into architectural acoustics, designing performance spaces, and recording facilities. I've offered to consult on the audio engineering aspects. What kind of security system are you thinking about? I asked, running my hand along the exposed brick walls that would soon house sensitive equipment. Basic stuff, she said. Insurance requirements, mostly. I don't need to record every conversation or monitor every corner. No hidden microphones? I asked, half joking. No hidden anything, she replied seriously. I want to build something that works in the light. Standing in that space, listening to the natural acoustics of honest construction, I realized something fundamental. The difference between the studio I shared with Lydia and the space I'm building with Rebecca isn't just architectural. It's philosophical. Both relationships involve technical precision, creative collaboration, shared goals, and professional respect. But this one is being built on truth instead of lies, on open communication instead of hidden surveillance, on trust instead of verification. Some things can't be fixed or remixed or balanced back to their original clarity. They can only be demolished completely and rebuilt from scratch with better materials and more honest engineering. The security cameras in my current studio still record everything, still store footage to encrypted drives. But the system Rebecca and I are designing won't need that level of monitoring. When you build something strong enough to handle the truth, you don't need to hide from it. I sleep better now. Dream less about hotel rooms and audio files and the sound of my ex-wife's laughter echoing through empty studio halls. Instead, I dream about blueprints and frequency responses and the satisfying precision of tools and skilled hands. Rebecca Says I listen differently now, that the hardness in my voice is softened, that I sound like someone who's learned the difference between perfect isolation and perfect acoustics. She's right about that too. I spent months learning how to amplify betrayal, how to mix evidence and broadcast consequences until my enemies had nothing left but the distortion of their own choices. It was necessary work, precise work, but it was never going to be enough. The real work, the work that builds instead of breaks, requires a different kind of precision. The daily choice to harmonize instead of compete, to create instead of capture, to trust instead of monitor. I'm good at this work too, better than I ever was at revenge. Tonight, Rebecca and I are having dinner with a potential client, a symphony orchestra looking to upgrade their recording capabilities. Professional collaboration, creative problem-solving, shared expertise. The kind of project that builds something lasting. Ready to make some beautiful music? She asks, adjusting the blueprint tube under her arm. Always, I reply, checking my equipment bag one final time. As we walk toward the restaurant, I think about the fundamental difference between recording betrayal and composing trust. Same technical skills, same attention to detail, same commitment to perfect execution. But this time, I'm building something worth protecting instead of destroying something worth forgetting. Some things can't be mixed back to their original clarity, but some things can be built from scratch, better and stronger than what came before, with perfect acoustics and honest engineering and no need for hidden microphones. The sound is different when you build it right the first time. Cleaner, truer, worth listening to for years to come.